Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Christy. I'm a homeschool mom to 3 kids, and today I'm going to be talking about when your kids don't want to do school. So I really try to keep it really real on my channel and on my Instagram. Definitely talking about the good days, but also the hard days. And there are definitely hard days where attitudes are high or my kids just don't want to do their schoolwork for the day, whatever the reason may be. So today I'm going to be talking about how to handle it, some tips and tricks that I do in this situation. So my first tip is to consider their age. Now, this is important because I feel like when you're dealing with really young kids, that preschool, kindergarten, first grade age range, when they don't want to do their school lessons, I personally am okay with them not doing their school lessons all the time. I try to keep the pressure off at this age so that they don't kind of get this bad taste of school or learning in their mouth. For instance, when my son, who's a pre-K, he's 4, almost 5. If he is not into his school lessons, which is actually very rare because he likes school a lot, when he's not into it, usually it's because he wants to play or he's involved in a game or he wants to be outside because the weather's nice or something like that. And so I kind of take the pressure off with that and I'm kind of like, okay, that's all right. And sometimes we come back to it later in the day when he's had a chance to kind of get his energy out. So sometimes for little ones, it's more of a timing thing than a not wanting to do it flat out. So definitely consider your children's ages. With my daughter, when she doesn't want to do school, I definitely have higher expectations for her because she's older. My next tip is to try to get to the root of the why. And sometimes there's not a reason. Sometimes it's just they woke up in the bad mood, or they're just being stubborn, or they just have an attitude where they just don't want to do it. But other times there could be a reason. Are they frustrated with what they're learning? Are they having a really hard time with the concept? And so that's kind of making them just want to give up and not deal with it. Are they overwhelmed with the amount of work for that lesson for the day? For example, if they're frustrated or overwhelmed with the concept or the amount of work for the lesson, sometimes I'm okay with compromising. So if they have 10 problems to do, I will say, okay, do 5 of them. And so that makes the work a little bit more manageable for them in their mind. Or sometimes I'll dictate with her. So if it's something where there's a lot of writing answers to something, I will have her verbally tell me what her answer is, and then I'll write it for her, because sometimes just the act of writing stresses her out. Another tip is to take a lot of brain breaks, and we do this often in our school. I don't try to rush through our day where we have to do, okay, math, then it's language arts, then it's science, and then it's history. We have to get this done. I like to take breaks. We'll get out our math, we'll do the math problems for the day, we'll take a break, and I'll give her maybe 10-15 minutes of a break to go kind of relax and kind of rest her brain from what she just did. Sometimes she will grab a snack or a drink. Sometimes she wants to go run around outside for a little bit. Sometimes she wants to play with like clay or read a book or something. Whatever it may be, it's a little brain break. It's an electronic free brain break, and that sometimes can help her just kind of regroup and come back to it. And same with my son. If he's struggling with something and he's just kind of not feeling it, we'll take a break and I'll give him some time to move around, kind of a movement brain break. Sometimes changing up the location of your schooling can help as well. So we usually school at our kitchen table. That's kind of a given. However, sometimes we will school in Lacey's bedroom. Sometimes we school on the couch with a blanket. And then other times we even take our schoolwork outside if it's a nice day and sit on a blanket and do it. So changing up the location can kind of make things feel fresh and new and more interesting. For my daughter, something that really helps her focus is actually some quiet music. And this won't work for every single kid, but for her, it does help her focus. So I will put some instrumental, like acoustic music in the background, kind of just like really peaceful music. She really enjoys just having that as background music. But sometimes she needs quiet. So for example, when we are doing language arts or something we need to kind of like read and focus and not have interruptions from little kids, we will take it into her room and close the door, and the quiet really helps her focus as well. And she can get a lot of frustration if she's distracted and can't focus. Just kind of taking in account atmosphere. Sometimes I'll give her clay to kind of do something with her hands while she's thinking. That kind of will help her focus as well. Same with my son. If there's reading and stuff we're doing, I will give him some Play-Doh that he can squish, or kinetic sand or something, and that really helps his focus. So focus is a big thing too. If they can't focus, they are more distracted and more not wanting to do the school that we're working on. Another thing I like to use sometimes is a learning incentive. So with this, it's some sort of activity that we can do after we get our books done. So on those days where I'm just really struggling, I will give Lacey something to look forward to, or Emmett something to look forward to. But I'm very careful on what that is. What I usually choose is something that they are learning with as well. So it's like a sneaky way to kind of insert more learning. So one example would be a recipe. My kids both really like to make treats and bake things. And so sometimes I'll pull out a cool recipe and I'll say, okay, after we do our books for the day, we're gonna make this fun treat. Sometimes a craft or art project. My daughter really is very crafty and artsy and likes those things. Sometimes maybe I'll say, okay, we're gonna play a board game together after we're done, and I'll let them choose a board game to play together. So just positive incentives that also kind of give them some learning as well is kind of like a fun thing to throw in. And sometimes it's enough to kind of push them through what they might be finding undesirable for the moment and get through it and get it done, and then we do something fun as a reward. Okay, and then when all else fails and I cannot get them to do anything, I will just have an honest heart-to-heart talk with them. Sometimes this isn't my last resort. Sometimes this is like kind of in the beginning, and what order you use this would be up to you. But for me, I'm just really honest with them. I know that this is not something you want to do right now. However, it's something that we need to do. It is a concept we need to learn, and we need to practice, and we need to get this done. Sometimes there is work that we may not feel like doing all of the time, but it still needs to get done. And so we're going to get this done. And I just kind of put it flat out that way. Like, it's not really an option to give up. We're just gonna, we're gonna do it. I'm seeing a lot of growth in my daughter with this because she's realizing that yes, these are things that need to be done. We need to learn these things for life, and that kind of helps give her a little bit of understanding and perspective. She's not always still like gung-ho happy to do it. However, she realizes that we mean business, and this is just going to happen whether she likes it or not. And so I think that that's like a tough lesson to teach, and it's a little bit of a tougher kind of approach, but it's reality. Sometimes there is work that we don't always feel like doing that we need to do. So it's just kind of part of life. I hope you guys found some of these tips helpful. There are going to be hard days in your homeschool. You're just going to have to accept that. And I hope these tips kind of help you work through that. They're not like a cure for those hard days. I hope they make your day a little bit easier and give you some ideas of things to try to kind of help your kids get through those hard days. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in another video very soon. Bye.